What are the skill set required to become a good product manager? How the role of product manager changes as per the industry? What are the challenges faced by product manager? What should be the GTM approach in terms of launching on a product, and how anyone can learn that process of GTM? Hello everyone and welcome to Career Conversation Podcast. In this podcast, we invite industry experts from various domains to share their learnings and experience. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, Mangesh Kelkar. Mangesh has around 17 plus of experience working in product management technology. Currently, he is working as senior product management at Siemens. So, welcome Mangesh to the show.
Thank you so much, Dushyant, for inviting me and basically investing your time for this. And I also want to congratulate you on your book that was released on 26th of Jan. I have ordered it myself, and I'm looking after to receive it and read it and give you feedback.
Thank you so much. So, how was your journey started? Started from Infosys till Siemens as senior PM.
I did my B in electronics and eventually was placed in Infosys, which is an IT
Mhm.
giant, as you all know. So I have lost almost entire touch with electronics in barely 6 months of joining
Right.
Infosys. I started with a lot of coding activities. I was a coder. I mean, probably I
Mhm.
have worked on those languages which are no more seen these days. So I started my career as a developer, but I found that I was not liking it much. What I was more into is basically understanding the holistic view of actually what we are
Mhm.
building, right? So I always wanted to see a bird's eye view because whenever anything used to come to me for development, I used to get line of requirement and say, okay, you need to build this, and I don't know why I'm building this, right? So
Right.
I started getting into understanding the business actually, and that's how I started moving my career from developer into a consulting role and then product roles. So I started as a developer, then I moved into role which is an associate consultant role with Infosys. Then I moved out and I actually worked on the product which was. Basically the automation products that we built for HSBC. There I actually performed role of business analyst, but
Mhm.
they were all products. So thankfully, throughout my career, even though I was in a couple of service-based companies, thankfully I worked on all the products. So the entire journey of mine is in product. Though mate is a product developer or product consultant or product manager, it's all product. So that's how my liking started, and that's why I'm here right now.
Right. And we have seen that the people in the product majorly from the engineering background, because I think they have that kida to find why it is there and why we have to solve that problem.
Yes, I mean, yes and no. So, because we started as an engineering background, but we have a lot of people who are non-engineering background who are into product management. So, for example, if you take some products which are like based on agriculture, right? So, you have a
Mhm.
lot of people coming from agriculture background. If you, for
Right.
example, currently I am working with Siemens. My domain is completely niche domain, which is a rail. When I joined, it was quite new for me as well. So that was the first time I am working, getting into a domain which is, I have only traveled with Mumbai locals, but I have never worked on products that are required for, railway to work. And if you
Right.
see kind of product managers there, they have very deep experience in railways. They may not be, kind of coming from engineering background or any specific background, but they have very deep experience in their particular domain, and that's how they have raised their ranks to product managers. So
Right.
but yeah, and if you see the circumstances around India, majority of the times what you see is the observation even I have. So
Right.
people come from engineering background, eventually rise up to product manager role, and yeah, that's pretty much is the case with India.
Right. And if we try to understand product management, so my question is, what is product management? How we see the last 5 year, and how the product management looks in next 10 years?
Okay, good question. So I might answer these things, which may sound not so routine to a lot of people, because
Okay.
when you think of product management, right? So these days, when you say product management, you only focus on role called product managers, product owners, or relevant such designations. From
Right.
my point of view, if you are working in a product, whether you are a product developer, product tester, product marketer, product salesperson, you are into product management, right? So
Hmm.
so there is always an opportunity for a developer to rise up to a product architect, eventually chief product architect, and that's well reputed designation, well reputed position in any of the company to get into, still called as a product management, right? So it's quite unfortunate that when we talk about product management, we only say product managers or product director, all those things. But yeah, I mean, I have seen a lot of changes happening even these days, where it was 5 or 10 years back, and now where are we heading to? So we actually never had very formal designation as a
Mm-hmm.
product manager before, right?
Right.
So the people who had experience, for example, I came from banking. So the people who have very good banking experience, they started sharing their experiences into a product development, and eventually we happen to call them as a product manager, right? These days this spectrum has changed altogether. Even if I'm from engineering background, I can work with any fintech company and provide my expertise in product development, right?
Right.
um,
Right.
Going forward, I think AI is changing all the game. So
Mm-hmm.
previously, I mean, I'm old school product manager, you can say, but I always used to say, business should drive the technology. Technology has
Mm-hmm.
no right to decide what I do business with, right? It's still true, but not 100% anymore, because
Mm-hmm.
technologies are changing every day, and every business is essentially pivoting all their product line, all their businesses, everything around technology. So
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of change we are seeing since past few years, and eventually AI is probably a game changer in that. And going ahead, I would really like to see people taking more decisions based on the data that you have, because data is really a gold mine, right? So
Right.
previously I know few people, or even few products for that matter, who started with heuristic, right? There was
Mm-hmm.
not no specific data to prove their concept. Those products actually flew. I mean, those are really good products, but essentially you never had a data to start the
Right.
product development. Essentially the data was built over the time. Now that you already have a data, the game changer thing henceforth is the innovation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how you can use your AI, because everybody is using AI, right? But how you
Right.
can use AI which is coming in, or any new technology for that matter, how you can use that and innovate your product, or your product line,
Mm-hmm.
or your businesses, or your processes. So I think that would be a game changer thing from my point of view. And product management basically sits on quite a border of execution, engineering, and also business, right? So they have
Right.
exposure on both the sides most of the cases. So I think they would play a role of a catalyst in these innovations.
Right, right. So as you rightly mentioned, right, because building a product, the business should drive technology, not the vice versa, right? And that's why the role of product management plays important role, because you have to understand the business also, the consumer also, and then what can be built and how that can be built in faster time, which can help you to help the business to go in the right direction.
Correct.
So when we discuss about the role of product management, there are multiple skill set are required, right? So according to what are the skill set required to become a good product manager?
Yeah, this is a good one. Again, my answer may not sound very familiar to you,
Okay.
but so as I mentioned, when you talk about product management, it has a different rules. So it
Mm-hmm.
has some rules on execution side, developer, tester, or architect, or it can be
Mm-hmm.
on business side like sales, marketing, growth strategist. All these rules. So to answer your question, what are the skills required to get into a product management role? To be frank, there is no one size fit for all, right? So depending
Right.
on where are you in your career right now, what are your intentions to get into a product management, all these things matter. What you want to learn, how you want to learn, how much you want to learn, right? So all these things would matter. If you ask me top three of my choice, right, I would rate product mindset at a top. Product mindset as a top, then comes understanding of your customer, and then comes agility and adaptability. So,
Mm-hmm.
irrespective of whatever role you talk about, whatever your designation is, I think these three generally plays pivotal role or crucial role when you are moving into product management, or when you are already into product management, or you want to innovate something, right? So these three are kind of pillars. So I believe these three are the top one that everybody
Right.
should have if they call themselves as a product management team, or they want to transition into product management.
But there are two critical part, either the soft skill part or the hard skill or technical skill. So what
Correct.
are technical skill or hard skills are required to execute this role better?
So technical or hard skills, if you say it again, this really depends. So now, if you are more a technical, right? So there are a lot
Mhm.
of job roles that talk about technical product management, right?
Right.
More oriented towards technical architecture. There are a lot of roles that speak about business side of product management. So there are roles
Mhm.
that speaks about inward product management, outward
Mhm.
product management. So
Mhm.
based on your intent, based on where you want to grow yourself, right? These things would differ. So
Mhm.
just to give you certain examples, so if you are in a product where data plays a very crucial role, it's a product based on
Mhm.
your data. So you are selling the data basically to the customer via whatever means, APIs or anything. So how you can be better at any technology that basically brings more of your data, right? How you can
Mhm.
create value of that data. So anything related to that will be your top skill, right? So if you
Right.
are getting into a role of a growth strategist, so product growth strategy is one of the growing area. So you can learn how you can get your product to the next level, right? So again, based on where you want to grow, your hard skills will define.
Right. And you work in multiple industries. So how the role of product manager changes as per the industry? Because we have seen the product manager from technology products background, right? Or some of the electronics or some of the hybrid kind of product or embedded system. So different types of company and every company need product manager. Now, how the role of product manager changes as per the industry?
Correct. So we are talking about role called product manager, right? So there is another
Mhm.
parallel role called as product owner. So that
Right.
role has came into picture when Agile came into picture, right? All is
Right.
safe and Scrum and everything. When they came into picture, this product owner was a new role that came into picture,
Mhm.
right? So there are different dimensions to these roles now. A lot of people, a lot of companies, they recruit people as a product owners. Essentially, they
Mhm.
were business analysts before, right?
Okay.
So if just because they want to retrofit in agile ways of working, they call them product owner. That's happening in India. That's what scenario, but that's happening in India in a lot of places,
Right. Right.
rather majority of the times. But if you are very domain specific, then
Mhm.
generally companies would require a person who has that domain knowledge. If you are very domain specific, but a lot of companies are quite open. They would want diverse opinion. So if even if you are a
Mhm.
bank, if you're working on a banking software or banking product, I, as a company, would want diverse views. So, if
Mhm.
I want to innovate something within banking industry, I have to go outside of my comfort zone, go
Mhm.
out and again come back, right? So, if that works, then you have different opinion and how their experiences can be utilized in banking industry. That is something which a lot of companies look for, and that is also a trigger for innovation, right?
Right.
Uh, but yeah, there are roles which require a very high domain expertise. For example, in my case, we have few positions where we definitely require real domain experience as mandatory. I do not have that experience, but then I do not work on those kind of products which where real expertise is mandatory. Right? But yeah, it depends on your industry, what a product you want to build, and what is the need of
Mhm.
time.
Mhm. And the same way, because you work in HSBC, you work in Udacity, which is again education, and the Siemens kind of company, right? So the responsibility keep on changing, because as a product manager, when you're building for either B2B or B2C kind of product, or education product, or a banking product, so
Yeah.
how you see that challenges when working in different domains?
Correct. So the top three skills I mentioned, right? Having product mindset, understanding of a customer, agility and adaptability. I
Right.
think irrespective of working on B2C, B2B, or Udacity was B2G, business to government.
Mm-hmm.
These three skills, they are absolutely essential for any product person. Whether you're a developer, you need to have that mindset. Whether you're a tester, you need to have that mindset, or a product manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go industry by industry, or if I have to call myself as industry agnostic product manager,
Mm-hmm.
so I should
Mm-hmm.
master these skills, right?
Right.
And next important thing that you would always need to do is you need to identify your position within the organization, right? How you
Mm-hmm.
can establish yourself. So once you get into a new industry or new domain, it's not a matter of just 1 or 2 weeks or 1 or 2 months that you gain a lot of knowledge from that domain, right? So because there are always domain expertise sitting next to you and
Right.
they have like vast experience. So the essential thing that or the challenging thing is that when you get into any new domain, you should first identify how you can position yourself. When
Mm-hmm.
you want to position yourself, it is important that you establish that trust in your partners or with your customers or with whomever you are working with, maybe your development team. It is very important how you establish your trust. There is
Right.
something called as influence without authority, right? I mean, I heard in your previous podcast also, and that is a truth, right? So if you are not domain expert, and if you want to
Mm-hmm.
still sustain there, you need to
Right.
prove your game, right? So and how do you do that? So and
Right.
trust is the most important factor. So
Mm-hmm.
as long as you have that kind of mindset, as long as you are thinking in terms of this is my product level, how I can get it, a level above. People will like you, and people will start, collaborating with you, just like other teammates. You have to be part of the team, part of the
Mm-hmm.
game. So you can't be working in isolation with engineering team, or in isolation with business teams, or isolation with sales team. No, you are like a lubricant, right? So there's a
Mm-hmm.
machine lubricant. It goes in all the parts. So product
Right.
manager should be like that, right? So you need not be expert in all these areas, and nobody can
Mm-hmm.
be. But you should know what each function does, what are their responsibilities, how I can make it effective if I am able to collaborate among all of them, right? So that's my job as a product manager. So I think that plays a crucial role.
Right. So as you mentioned that as a product manager, you are the manager of particular product. You are not manager of any person, right? And
Correct.
in that case, you have to work with the multiple departments and multiple teams, right? And that plays critical role because now you have to understand how to do stakeholder management, how to manage the communication with all the team members. So what are the challenges faced by product manager doing this?
A lot of challenges. I mean, see, the challenges are different at different levels of product maturity, different levels of my career path.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is quite new to this field, they face different challenges. Mid of the career, different challenges. Similarly, product maturity, right? So a lot of time, what happens is, most of the challenges that we see, those are quite possible to be resolved just by collaboration and the
Mm-hmm.
communication. Again, everything comes to the soft skills. So even if I don't have knowledge, I know I have people around me who can help me with that knowledge.
Right.
But if there is nobody who is there to collaborate all of them together, take right decisions at right time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then everything is mess, and that's where product managers come into picture. And this is the most challenging situation you are in, where you have different teams coming together, proving their importance, and then screwing your product development, right? So I think, and that's where product managers are placed. They need to be quite efficient, or quite, I would say, expert in handling those kind of ambiguities. So if you are
Mm-hmm.
good at handling ambiguities, it doesn't matter if you're a project manager, product manager, you are good and you
Right.
are thinking for a product. You have that product mindset, right?
Mm.
And then you can prove your gut.
So, because product management is getting so fascinated about the career option for multiple new students or new professionals. So, what are the skill set required to start the career in product management? What are our suggestions that these are the things you should learn to start the career in product management?
Okay, so first question before you actually get into learning, right? So I do
Mm.
mentor a lot of people who are at different stages. Also, people who are at the end of the college or mid of the career, or want to transition to product management, different experience level, different age level. First and foremost question before you actually put yourself into learning path is to understand what is the intent, right? Why you
Mm-hmm.
want to get into product management. I am a person who has, let's say, 5 years of experience. I want to get into product management versus I'm a person who has 15 years of experience, want to get into
Mm.
product management. The intents are different, right?
Right.
If you are very clear with the intention why you want to move into product management, then you start defining your career path. So a lot of times, people come to me and ask me the same question. I need to get into product management. What I need to do? So I
Right.
first asked them, why want to move to product management, right? What is your intent? It is because of peer pressure. Some other people are getting into product
Good.
management and going some, fancy roles, or you find it really lucrative, but that's
Mm.
a myth, or some other reason, right? So, or do you really have a passion to build a product, right? So if your intent is clear, I think then you are good to set your path. So if I have to tell somebody who is at the mid of their career, like 8 or 10 years of experience, and want to move into product management, assumption, right? First assumption I'm making, if I have to suggest any learning path, is they have passion towards product building, right? So if
Mm.
you have a passion towards product building, first of all, you should not restrict yourself in a role as product manager or product owner.
Mm.
If you are good at machine learning or AI or any kind of that kind of technical skill, you can grow yourself in that area and still build a good products, right?
Mm.
So I have seen a lot of expert engineers who have raised their rank and reached to architect level, and they have contributed a lot to their individual products. So
Right.
rather, they know more than what product managers know. So and that's the real scenario in a lot of companies which you find, they are now engineering driven. They call themselves product companies, but they are heavily engineering driven companies. So
Mm.
if
Right.
as a product manager I have to get into or crack into that company, I have to crack their engineering team, right? So
Right.
so you first understand what is your intent. So if your
Mhm.
intent is getting into a product manager role, you have various options, right? So
Mhm.
you have a lot of online platforms like LinkedIn Learning. One of the good options I find these days is Amazon Audible and podcasts. There are a lot of podcasts. One you are creating, a lot of other podcasts where people talk about very good practice of product management, how they have built their
Right.
product. Some people talk about entrepreneurship, right? So their experiences is what matters. So
Right.
you only learn by experiences, right? So you
Mhm.
actually don't learn by just learning a book. If you learn a book
Right.
but you don't practice it, it's of no use.
Mhm.
So if you really learn somebody's experiences and try to, even you try to mimic those experiences, that's also fine, but you need to start small. You start small, take baby steps, see if things around you are good for your growth in product management direction. If not, you also have to decide if you have to move outside, right? Outside of the current organization for that matter. But as far as possible, I think the best way to approach these things is start small, start from your own organization, start asking the right questions to your management, to your product teams, start participating in all product discussions, etc. Be proactive, and start showcasing that now you are ready for a being product manager. Right? So I think that's very important.
Anyone who's starting the career, because we talk about someone is already working, someone from engineering background or want to join as a business analyst or a assistant product manager, what are the skills that they should have? Or when you are taking the interview, right, what are the skills we should check in that, okay, you this is seems to be a good product management symptoms?
Correct. This is a very interesting thing, right? When you ask me about interview, and that's something very close to me. I love taking interviews because I get to
Okay.
learn a lot, and especially from
Right.
this Gen Z, I think they are way ahead of time, right?
Hmm.
They are very fast learners, basically, but they learn in patterns, right? So you need to understand what their pattern is. So whenever we take interviews of such people, right, what we would want to ensure as an interviewer, if I have to get somebody in my company as an associate product manager, or let's say business analyst or requirement engineer, do they have an approach correct? I don't want them to technically expert, and I don't expect them to have a domain knowledge because they are fresh out of college. We are here to train them. So companies
Hmm.
give trainings. So, but what as an interviewer, what I would look into them is basically how they're approaching to a problem. So
Right.
there is one famous quote for Einstein. It says that if I have 1 hour to solve the problem, 55 minutes I will give to understanding the problem and 5 minutes for a solution. Right.
Right.
So because if you see the general tendency of a developer or very hardcore engineer, if I tell them a problem, they will tell me the solution. They will never ask me a question back. They already have things in mind. They're already working on a product, and they will immediately give me a solution, right?
Right.
So without asking any questions, the first thing is basically again comes to the mindset. So you need
Hmm.
to understand, you need to ask a lot of questions, you need to
Hmm.
first tell me or convince me as an interviewer that, hey, I know how this product can be built, but I'm not able to frame a problem statement correctly. Help me with the information with which I can formulate a problem statement. So
Hmm.
if I have a right problem statement, I know how to solve that problem. So forming a problem is very important. Forming a problem statement is very important, and this can also be done by engineering fresher. Right? This is not
Hmm.
a rocket science. They are doing their engineering projects since third year or second year sometimes. So they are working on some or the other projects or internships outside of the college, and then they're probably working on some products. There are a lot of people that come to me and say, okay, I did internship in XYZ product based company. My
Hmm.
immediate question to them is, what is the product about? What did it
Right.
do? And then I try to ask them questions where I get them to a problem statement of a product. And if
Hmm.
they are even able to tell me one single problem that the product is solving, I think that person is a good person. At
Okay.
least he has that acumen, right? But if the person is keep telling me the solutions, I think he's better suited for engineering team, right? He's not
Hmm.
bad, but he's probably suited for development team, engineering team, right? Because he know how to attack the solution, right? But I want somebody as a product manager who knows what is the exact problem, who knows why
Hmm.
we are building the product, who knows why exactly and when we need to launch the product, all these things. So all WH questions, the person
Hmm.
who can at least address all WH questions to me, I think he's the right person.
And because the clarity is most important the aspect in product management, right? Because if you don't know what you are doing and why you are doing, then because all other things will start falling apart, right?
Correct.
So let's take one example, try to understand the thing more clearly. Let's say you are taking the interview, right? And you want to give a case study. Let's say you want to build an education application, right? Because there are lots of new ed tech companies are coming. And let's say you want to build an education application. So how should be the approach to be considered that, okay, what should the process to building an education app current, considering the current scenario?
So it really depends on who, rather you, let's say you want to build an application,
Mm-hmm.
why you want to build it, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's very important. Do you want to build it so that you want to reach out to 100,000 people? If that's the intent, why you want to build the application? Can you use some
Mm-hmm.
other platform,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you, if your intent is basically reaching to 100,000 people, you need not build your own product.
Right.
You can actually use some existing product like what
Mm-hmm.
you are using for a podcast. You can go
Mm-hmm.
and hunt for a product where you can put your content, right?
Right.
So you need not invest your energy in building a product.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very essential first question, whether you really want to build a product or use existing thing. So again, it
Right.
comes to the designing a problem. What's your
Mm-hmm.
problem? You want to reach to and impact 100,000 people's life, or you want to really build a product?
Right.
So that's very important. Let's say you want to build a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
How you start? First, again, have some top three problems in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? Validate those problems. Unless you validate those problems, I think it's not worth even going ahead a single step. You need to
Mm-hmm.
validate, because I myself have seen, I have started building up couple of products myself. It failed market validation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then by that time we had probably built something already, put to the production, but it didn't work. It failed market validation and almost 0% adoption. So only my parents, my friends, cousins,
Mm-hmm.
only they were onboarded. That's it, nobody else. So that's of no use. So first and foremost, have your top three problems in mind. Validate those problems, whether they are real, where they are the problems you really need to solve right now,
Mm-hmm.
or these are the problems that you anticipate would come 10 years down the line and you're solving it right now,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to mimic some other product. Let's say I was
Mm-hmm.
part of Udacity. Do you want to mimic a platform like Udacity? So that's
Mm-hmm.
also an important question, right? So once that is clear in your mind, then your product building process actually starts,
Right.
right? So you have to have a problem clearly identified. You have to have clear validation of the problem. And next important thing is basically, so by the way, when you are validating a problem, you're also validating your customer segment, whom you
Mm-hmm.
want to build this product, right? Is it for people like me who have 15 plus years of experience, or somebody who is engineering pass out, or somebody who is at the mid career, like 7 8 years of
Right.
experience, 10 years experience, right? So that also matters, right? So when you are validating, you are validating based on your intended customer segment,
Mm-hmm.
right? So once that is done, basically then your product development starts, because technology is there. You have hundreds of technology stack that are readily available
Mm-hmm.
for you to build any product. You just need
Right.
to identify top talent from a market or from your near and dear ones and ask them, hey, can you build a product for me? There will be
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of hands, but
Right.
you need to tell them precisely what they want to build, why they want to
Mm-hmm.
build, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have that very clear in your mind.
Right. So how to build is not a problem in today's era. What to build is
Correct,
more complex to understand, right?
correct, correct,
Because we have seen many startups or many products keep on failing. We have seen 90%
correct.
startup fail, right? Because what to build is getting more complex because of the high competition. The technology
Correct.
is getting democratized, right? The more people has the access of
Exactly.
technology and building the things. So what to build has the more complexity now.
Exactly. I mean, now if you get into AI, if you want to build a code, you can just ask Gen AI, Chat GPT, just give me a code for XYZ thing. It will probably
Right.
give you a code. You just use
Hmm.
a code and things will work for you, right?
Right.
So it's quite easy. We have
Right.
this low code or no code platforms. You can go
Hmm.
and build your own website, start a product.
Right.
I mean, you
Right.
can do that,
Hmm.
but you need to be clear in your mind always. What is your goal? What's your vision?
Hmm.
Why you want to
Right.
build this product, and what is the impact that you are trying to create out of this product, right?
Right.
So only
And
then it will be successful, I believe.
And because of all this, one now the idea validation is cheaper as compared to previously because previously the process is longer. Now for any
Correct.
PM to validate the idea or validate the hypothesis is much cheaper to experiment in today's era?
Absolutely. I won't say it's cheaper, but it depends how you want to validate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have hundreds of tools. So, for example, if you're going for B2C like product, or let's say B2B product, right? So, you have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of companies who are already analyzing your product and your competitor's product. So, it's
Right.
very easy. You can simply approach to any of the company, they will charge you something,
Mm.
X amount, and you get everything. You get entire competitor analysis, right? So these
Right.
things have been, I would say the duration is shortened. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't talk about cheaper or this thing, but at least duration is shortened. So earlier,
Right.
if I have to spend like 2 months doing the computer analysis, I can do it in less than 2 or 3 weeks probably. Right.
Mm, right.
If I have to validate certain segment, I have a lot of marketing platforms that are available. I can use LinkedIn marketing, Facebook marketing, Google marketing, Google
Mm,
Business Suite. There are a lot of things I can use for my marketing, and I can get the validation done very quickly. Right, a lot of
right.
agencies that can help you. So the things are faster. I won't comment or costlier or cheaper, but they are definitely faster.
Right. So once it is faster, you will get also benefit of saving of time and money, right?
Correct.
Right. So there are two aspects. With respect to faster, we also touch about the GTM strategy, right? Because some of the product management has to manage the GTM also. That okay, you build a product and how with the help of marketing team, the product will be launched. What should be the GTM approach in terms of launching on a product, and how anyone can learn that process of GTM?
So I do not have much experience on GTM for B2C products, but I can definitely talk about B2B or B2G products. Right? So basically
Mm-hmm.
business to business. So GTM strategy is how I can term it. So it's a real team game, I would say, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you
Right.
actually need to talk to development team till your sales marketing head, right? So
Right.
everybody needs to be collaborated, right? So if my salesperson is committing that okay, I want to launch this product on XYZ date, this needs to be
Mm-hmm.
committed to a developer that you need to build
Mm-hmm.
this till this date so that we launch at this date, right? So
Right.
GTM is entire chain basically in product
Mm-hmm.
development. So it's building GTM strategy involves everybody, literally everybody on the product side, both on execution as well as on business side, right? From my point of view, GTM strategy I think is actually plays very crucial role when you have very hard competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have that much of hard competition, if you are in a niche market, of course GTM strategy plays a role. The products where you really have some competition already in market, so
Mm-hmm.
there it becomes very crucial. So to best way to learn this is basically start participating,
Okay.
right? So if you are thankfully already placed in a product company, you proactively go and ask whether I can participate, right? A lot of time
Mm-hmm.
people don't ask. It's
Mm-hmm.
only about, I mean, I have experienced a lot in my own career. I go back and reflect and I say, okay, if I wouldn't have asked this question that time, probably I'm not here this time, right?
Right.
So it's all about asking. So you go ask your managers, peers, or whosoever the product leaders. Just be observer for some time. That's okay. You just want to learn, right? You don't need to participate or start contributing. You just have to learn. So go observe what is done. You think of different departments that are involved in this GTM strategy, how they work, how development teams work when they want to execute GTM strategy, how sales team or marketing team works when they want to execute development strategy,
Mm.
how CXOs work. They work absolutely different ways. When it comes to GTM, you will start seeing CXOs behaving very differently, right? When it comes to a development team, they start behaving differently, and it's not, it's not purposely they're doing it. It
Right.
happens basically because that's what is needed when you want to
Mm.
execute one versus the second, right? So basically it comes from the observation. You need to step into that role, at least from understanding point of view. Speak up in your organization, read a lot of things on GTM, and see how these are being practiced in your organization currently, right?
Right.
You always have an opportunity to suggest that okay, hey, this is how some other companies GTM work. Our product is on similar lines, can we think of something like this, etc., right? So always have your say.
Yeah.
Just speak up. I think
Mhm.
speaking up solves a lot of problems.
And then there is one proverb called "Don't reinvent the wheel," right?
Correct.
And today we are seeing what I am observing. All OTT looks similar, all social media
Correct.
looks similar, all e-commerce looks similar, right?
Correct.
So now anyone who's building a new product in that categories, what should be the process? Because either you take the reference of the things which are working and replicate it, copy paste it, because many Indian startup does that kind of process. We have seen that one. Or you again try to do experiment and do something different and try to again put the money and understand the consumer behavior. So what's your approach in copy pasting kind of thing, or building something completely new and different kind of approach?
So again, as I told you in your previous question, right? If you want to build your education platform, you need to first understand whether you want to build it yourself or take help from some other existing platform. So you define
Right.
your purpose first. If your
Mhm.
purpose is competing with XYZ person, go and build the product, invest your money. But your purpose is impacting some lives positively, you need not build your own product, take help. I mean, there is, you did not feel that you are not doing something correctly because you're not building a product versus you are using, let's say you're using Shopify.
Mhm.
You need not reinvent everything that Shopify already provides
Right.
you. You did not do it yourself.
Right.
Go and build something on Shopify. As simple as
Mhm.
that, right?
Mhm.
So basically, again, everything comes to the intent. Everything comes to the purpose. So if your purpose is basically create another competition because this XYZ company is your rival company and they have put their foot in XYZ domain, and now I need to step into that domain because of the competition. Okay, go and build the product. But if not, if your intent is not that, you need not get into actual product development, because product development is I mean, it's not very easy. It's not very
Mhm.
easy task when you think from scratch and say, okay, I need to build something new. It's
Mhm.
not very easy. It's not just involves your own efforts and times. It also involves money, a lot of money, right?
Right.
Because when you talk about product, there is one question you should always ask: what's in it for me? You ask
Mhm.
yourself, your teams ask, your customers ask, and your management also asks. So
Right.
when, because a lot of people also talk about customer experiences.
Mhm.
Your product is fabulous, it provides a fabulous customer experience, but it is not earning you revenue. Your management
Right.
want to discontinue the product, right? There is nothing for them in the product, so they will
Right.
discontinue. So all these things need to be understood properly. So there are three pillars from my point of view, right? Desirability, viability, and feasibility. Desirability, yes, we can think of it, right? Because there is a similar product which is market, people are buying it. Okay, my product also will be bought. The people
Mhm.
are desired to buy. Viability and feasibility. Feasibility, yes, there is a technology, you can definitely build a product, others have built it. In terms of viability, if I build this idea on top of something what I already have, am I diversifying heavily, or am I actually building on top of what I have something that will define how viable it is for me as a management, me as a company. So all these factors, if you draw three circles, the intersection of all these three is a very sweet spot. If you can have that sweet spot with your idea or a product, then go ahead and build a
Right.
product.
So, what's your final advice to all the people who want to start their career in product management?
My advice, I mean, more than advice, I can probably share a little bit from my experience, right? So as I mentioned, ask a lot of questions. Don't
Mhm.
hesitate to ask somebody who you feel is the right person to mentor you. So having a mentor is essential. I got very good mentors, thankfully, by God's grace, but I got them very late in the career. If I would have got those probably 5 years before, then probably I would have been at different stage of my career, right? So don't hesitate to get any mentoring or coaching in these things. Ask a lot of questions. Keep your eyes and ears always open, right? So
Mhm.
you need to be aware of what's happening around you. I'm not
Right.
talking about these political things and all these things, but especially in product management, how the trends are changing, how technologies are changing, right? In particular, let's say I'm in banking domain, what are the new technologies or new trends coming in? So you should be aware about all these things, and you should be actually practicing all your expertise in your day-to-day life. So
Right.
you identify where you are good at and how you can utilize your existing strengths and build which is not your existing strength. So
Mhm.
use your strengths and build those which you do not good at. So you need to definitely go through all the process. There is no shortcut to anything. Uh, the only shortcut is using chat gpt or AI, but that doesn't work in your career path from my point of view. You need to learn that first, and to learn that you need to spend some time, you need to have some hands on, you need to have a good guidance from somebody, and the opportunities. So
Right.
I think all these you should figure it out, put it on the paper, find out what is feasible for you, see where you find difficulties, where you need help from somebody else, and don't hesitate to get that help.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mangesh, for your time and sharing all valuable insight. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dushyant, and I wish you all the best for all your podcasts. I think this was one of a kind of a podcast. I thought I should be participating because product management is something very close to my heart. And thanks a lot for inviting me here once again, and all the best for your future for podcasts.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.